Robert Olsen and his family are from Saskatoon and did some ministry work there and ministry work in Peru. And they now live in Ottawa, where he serves as the church ministries pastor at Bethel Church. He wrote a book for kids called The You Inside You to help kids love who they are, no matter what others may say about them. So help me welcome Pastor Rob. Hello.
Hello, Kara. How are you?
I'm doing so great. It's awesome to have a local author with me right now for the bookmark. And I want to hear, first of all, what inspired you to write a kid's book?
So actually, it kind of started back when we were in Peru. We were trying to figure out ways to raise money so that we could stay there. And just sort of writing kids' books popped into my head. So we started writing books about our children. And what ended up happening was we ended up back in Canada before we released any kind of book to help us raise funds anyway. But I discovered that I just really enjoyed writing children's books. So for this book specifically, I was literally just sitting there, and I believe God just dropped onto my heart this line that says, because someone says it does not make it true. There's a you inside you, and they're lovable too. And it literally just like made my spirit kind of burst. Like, this is a message that kids need to hear. They hear so many things about who they're supposed to be and what they've done. And I just want them to know that they're just lovable. And that's how God feels about them.
So in your years of ministry and as a parent of 4 kids, and just kind of continuing on the train of thought we're going here, what would you say has the biggest influence on how kids see themselves?
Oh, well, unfortunately, I do think that TV and sort of the outside world has a lot to influence how they feel about themselves. But most of all, it's going to be what life is like at home, right? Like how parents speak to them and about them, and then their relationship with God. Like, I believe if they are engaging with the Lord, they're just going to hear the truth over and over again about who they are and their adoption into the family, and that they're just so completely valuable. So it's almost like there's these battling messages all the time. And unfortunately, they get a lot more of the world in them often because they're, in school, watching TV, they're on the internet, whatever the case. And I just think that we need to take opportunities like family time reading, being at church, where we can fill them up with real truth about who they are.
That's cool. So I'd love to share a little bit about your journey of writing this kid's book. I know you mentioned a bit kind of like where the idea came from. You and your family actually decided to start your own publishing company to help bring this book to life. So tell us briefly about Big Word Books and what you aim to do with it.
So the title of our company is really important to everything that we want to do. We call it Big Word Books because we do not shy away from big words. So like one of the first words in our book is conundrum. And a kid might not know what a conundrum is, but we don't want to decide for them that they cannot learn what a word is. As long as we can make it fun, and as long as they can enjoy the book, they will be able to learn what that word is. So we actually put like an index in the back that will explain all these difficult words. And almost every page has some word that might be just above their level that they can go and discover what it is in a really fun way. We actually believe that the kids will just sort of reach up to the level that we'll put them at, and as long as we make it fun and engaging.
Yeah, and that's cool. I was actually going to mention that too, because I feel like the way you've written it with rhyme and the context of where those words are placed, because you're reading the context, even if you don't know what that word means, it still makes sense. It fits in the context. I think kids will understand it because of how it's put in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so talk a bit more about the publishing company. I know this is the first book on there. I'm assuming there's a future for this company too.
Absolutely, yeah. We have other books that we're working on already, and even sequels in this series. So this series is called Where the Grass Meets the Snow, and there'll be other stories along these character lines. And so the business is really, we decided to do it because we wanted to be able to maintain control over what the narrative was, because it's just such a simple message of, look, kids, you're lovable. We didn't want it to get hijacked by anybody else to put what their spin on it needed to be. And also along that lines, we had an artist who was local as well. Her name is Madison Schofield. You can catch her on Instagram at Mad Schofield. She's unreal.
She is.
And often when you get into this world working with other publishing companies, they will want to decide on who your artist is. But she brought our characters to life in such a way that was just like, it gave me tingles, and it just brought everything to life. So we wanted to use her, and we wanted to be able to control what the narrative was on this story. So we decided to do our own publishing company.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And it's bigwordbooks.com. That's where you can get the book too. Now,
right.
Rob, you talked about characters, and I want to go down that path. The main character is an ogre who doesn't fit in, goes on a quest to ask the old wise owl for answers. He meets some unique friends along the way. Which is your favorite character and why? And part two to that question, is there any characters that were inspired by or based on anyone particular?
Oh, man, that is such a great question. Like, I don't think that necessarily any of the characters were inspired by anyone in particular. I just think that I kind of went through and felt maybe stuff that I felt in my own life. And so each individual character had sort of something that they were going through, some way that they were thought of as different than what they thought of themselves. But my favorite character it's so tough. It's between the Boogeyman and Gek. And honestly, it wouldn't have been the Boogeyman until Madison drew him. He is so adorable.
So cute.
Right? Like, he's just so cute. But Gek, I love Gek because, so when I write books, I actually get voices of the characters sort of in my head, or how it's narrated. So I end up reading it in these weird voices.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a movie from Disney, The Emperor's New Groove, and there's a character in it who has this voice that's kind of like, it's really low, and he talks really funny, right? And so that's the voice I hear when I do Gek. So he's adorable, but he's got this personality that I love so much. So between those two, those are my two favorite characters.
Sounds like you're exactly like a children's author. You have voices in your head. I mean, come on.
I don't know if that's a good thing, right?
Okay, last question. I know we talked about what you'd like young readers to take away in terms of their identity and who they are inside. But Rob, would you leave us with maybe what you hope kids will learn and understand about treating others?
Yeah. Oh, man. Honestly, if kids could learn that they need to treat others how they want to be treated, I think there's so much value there. I think that if they had understood just the power of words, like the line is, because someone says it does not make it true. I think there's things that kids often take with them for years and even into their adulthood. And it was simply something that another person had said about them. So if kids could just, one, believe that they're valuable and that they're loved, that there's a God who loves them, and that finally what other people say does not define them.
Well, it's Ottawa pastor and author Rob Olsen, the You Inside You. Once again, bigwordbooks.com to get the book online. And of course, we have the links on our website as well. Rob, thank you so much. Congrats on the new book and the new publishing company. Excited to see what's next.
Thank you so much, Care. Appreciate it.